evening and welcome to Points in the Paint, where we are discussing the NBA Finals tonight. I am joined by Sam. I am Doug.
He's Doug.
Oh. Yeah. The Zoom things always get me crosswise there. Sam, you hit the nail right on the head when we talked last week about what Milwaukee needed to do. They came out and did just that, stole the last two games, and now are on the verge of taking their first title since my wife was born.
Nice. And I mean, these last two games, Doug, you kind of can see that, Milwaukee's just a better team, and Phoenix has a small rotation. And I'm like, Milwaukee just has a better. They're bigger. I mean, they have Giannis, and they're just a better team. And so obviously, Game 4, that one I think the Suns should have won or could have won, but they let that one kind of get away. That was the one where I can't remember how that one turned out. Oh, where Middleton scored those last 7 points, where Chris Paul had that costly turnover. That ends Chris Paul. And then this last game, Giannis really, the plays he was making. I was watching him on the perimeter, watched the highlights, and Giannis played to his strengths. You can't shoot threes, stop shooting threes. Set up, play off the ball more, and he still finished with, like I said, 30 points. I mean, you can finish with 30 points just off putbacks and driving to the rim. And nobody can stop you. I mean, going to the free throw line. If you even hit 5 or 6 free throws, then you can easily. I can easily see Giannis getting 10 baskets.
Mm-hmm.
It's. And like I said, I don't really have a stake in any team. I do kind of like Milwaukee. I want to see Giannis get that ring. But I think this is playing out how it should. Milwaukee should win Game 6 tomorrow. They're at home, but we'll see how Phoenix comes out. I mean, if Phoenix ties it up and they go back home for Game 7, so. I mean, Devin Booker's been, playing out of his mind. Maybe Chris Paul, he's in is put it on the line tonight too to force a Game 7. I mean, we'll see what Ayton does, but I think Phoenix's lack of size really, really is hurting them versus Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's just crushing them on the boards. And if you're getting beat that bad on the boards, like the Game 5, Giannis had the tip, missed a free throw, and he got the rebound, was able to tip it out to his teammates and get another possession. The free throw shooter should never get the ball. I mean, if you watch that highlight, the reason why that play even happened was because Devin Booker didn't box out Jrue Holiday. So Jrue Holiday got in there, and then Jay Crowder had to kind of nudge to help him, and then that helped Brook Lopez slide in there where Jay Crowder should have been, and that led to that rebound. And I mean, you get crushed on the boards, and that I think at the time Milwaukee was only up 1. Yeah, and then they got the possession back, and I think they. And then I can't remember. I think they scored or something, but then Phoenix got the ball back, and that's when he turned it over, and Giannis had that crazy alley-oop dunk. But I mean, giving up that board that late, I mean, those are just plays that you can't give up in the finals. So I fully expect Milwaukee to close this series out tomorrow in 6. I think Giannis is going to come out aggressive. I think the Bucks are going to come out super aggressive. Like, hey, we just play hard, put it on them for 48 minutes. You know what I'm saying? They'll fold. They'll give us their best shot, but let's do it. We got our home crowd in front of us.
Yeah. You can really tell that they really kind of swung there in Milwaukee. And then Saturday night, in Game 5, Phoenix got out to that huge lead in the first quarter, and I'm like, okay, they're going to take the lead here. And then all of a sudden, Milwaukee just starts coming back. And next thing you know, they're up big, and you're like, okay, you're taking this seriously now. And they came out, they basically destroyed them from the rest of the way on. And that basically now they're, up 1, going back home to finish the whole thing off. You've got to feel good if you're Milwaukee, unless something horrible happens to Giannis. Really on. You got to your chances. You get 2 bites at the apple, and one of those is at home. You've got to feel good about what you got, about the situation you're in.
Yeah, and honestly, Doug, just to say off what you said, even if Giannis went down, I still think the Bucks have enough to beat Phoenix. I just feel like their bench, Bobby Portis is playing great. Bobby Portis is playing like a man possessed. Not Covington. Connaughton. I like Pat Connaughton a lot. I think he's a great player a great role player on any championship team. Plays hard, athletic, can hit the three and whatnot. But yeah, what you said. I actually was at the water park. I was leaving the water park Saturday, and wasn't arguing with these kids, but we were with some kids, some high school kids, and one of the kids was like, "Yeah, the Suns are the better team. They're gonna blow out Milwaukee." And I'm like, "Dude, it's the." And I'm like, "No, Milwaukee's gonna win." And the other kid's like, "Yeah, Milwaukee's gonna win." And then the game started, and we were eating at the time, and I think Jay Crowder was first quarter. Jay Crowder had the dunk, and the Phoenix was going crazy in that first quarter. He was like, "Oh, he had his phone." He's like, "Oh," he was like going crazy. Like, "Yeah, Phoenix, I told you, Phoenix," and whatnot. I'm like, "Oh man, Phoenix is really coming out possessed here. They want this game." And then later that night, I check it, and it's 114 to 107. I'm like, "Oh, Milwaukee came back and took the lead." I was really surprised. I'm like, Phoenix is going to win game 5. I thought Phoenix is going to win game 5, especially after how game 4 ended. And then I see that Devin Booker had 40-some points. I'm like, oh, yeah, Phoenix is definitely going to win game 5. But Milwaukee went on that crazy run in the second quarter. I've watched those highlights over and over again. Drew Holiday, Middleton, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. All these guys are just making plays. T comes in, backup point guard, gives them good minutes. They got the veterans. They got the young players. I mean, they're clicking at the right moment. I mean, Giannis too. I think he's really grown up in the finals. Like some of the plays he was making in my last time, I'm like, Giannis, you don't always need the ball in your hands. The best thing for Milwaukee is actually have a traditional point guard and have Giannis play off of it. Kind of like what LeBron James did for the majority of his career. LeBron James, he always had a point guard, but I guess LeBron had the ball in his hands more. But now LeBron's like the traditional point guard. Like he makes decisions because he's always had good vision. But as that part of Giannis's game grows, I saw Giannis have a nice shuffle pass to Middleton. And I'm like, it was such a beautiful pass. He caught the ball, didn't hold on to it, shuffle passes to the guy while he was moving. And that's just beautiful basketball. And so Giannis's basketball IQ has definitely grown in this postseason run. I mean, if you look at who they beat Miami in the first round, yeah. Miami, Brooklyn second round, Atlanta, and then now they're playing Phoenix. I mean, his IQ has just grown, and obviously he's cementing himself. Somebody said he was like taking the torch from LeBron, but I'm like, well, you still have Kevin Durant, that can still score. So, but Giannis is definitely carving out his name in this finals, and if they're able to get the championship done, it's good. It feel good for Milwaukee, the city, to get a ring, and he stayed in a small market team and actually brought them a championship. That's always good for the NBA.
Yeah. I don't want to call it a worry, or concern, but I know we've talked a lot about Giannis and his free throws and developing that shot. Do you think that if he goes on and wins the title, that he doesn't feel the pressure to improve there nearly as much because he's like, hey, I'm doing good at a 55% clip. We won the title with me shooting at a 55% clip. I don't need to invest it, where if he would have lost or if he loses the title, he's like, okay, I really need to go out and shoot 65-70% to really give my team the chance to win.
No, and just to know how Giannis is, he's like he works. He's a hard worker. He's looked at adding other parts to his game. Like he's even improved his 3-point shooting a lot. But that's why you see him taking those threes, because he's been working on it, and he knows that's a weakness in his game. So no, and just his mindset is, hey, I want to come back and win more championships. And you hear about your free throws. I mean now, like, dude, people are tweeting about it. People are freaking. Analysts are talking about it. Normal people. I guess we're all normal. Everyday people. Like such as yourself and I, we see it. We tweet about it. You know what I'm saying? We all know about it. So if you know that's an area of your game and it could be and it can come back and bite you, he's gonna go work on that in off season. You know what I'm saying? But I saw a skit this morning by Antoine Walker, and he said something that made sense with Giannis' free throw routine. He said he always does the same routine. He does his routine, so that's good. He's establishing those habits. You know what I'm saying? He has to do a little tweaking here and there, maybe to shooting mechanics. You know what I'm saying? But he does. But he'll get there. And he. That's a part of his game. But the fact that he's been in this big moment, he can step up and take another free throw in the future down this road. Because I've been here before, so I think it's only going to serve him well in the future.
No, I agree, and yeah, you're right about establishing the routine. I used to work at a bank million years ago, and the first thing they teach you when they hire you is do the same thing every single time, so that way if something goes wrong, you'll know where in the process it was. because if you're doing the same thing and making the exact same steps every single time, when you do something out of order or not natural, you're going to feel that. And so that's exactly, so you're right, exactly there. If Giannis is, working on finding what works for him, and then it's just small tweaks from there. I agree with that completely.
So, you say you worked at a bank a million years ago. Is that bank still in existence today?
It is. It actually is.
Physical location, we can go there and visit it.
You can online bank and everything.
Oh wow! So yeah, the bank stood tall over these years. Yeah. But yeah, and that's I harken back to one of my favorite books. I'll slide a book reference in there for you guys. I want to say it's The Power of Its Habit, and it's by James Clear. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Yeah, there we go. Which is a great book, and it talks about habits and good habits and bad habits, and recognize and stuff like that. So when you're doing your shooting mechanics, like the good part of it, you want to continue to build on, and then the bad part you want to kind of just eliminate. So yeah, like I said, it's only going to make him grow as a person. Adversity makes us all grow in life, one way or another, and this is just another form of adversity for him.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of adversity, I was trying to make this segue earlier and then get back to it. Do you feel like Chris Paul is trying to do too much?
Yeah, and I mean I get it. He might be pressing. It might be his last chance. And I think it's like he's stuck between trying to defer to his young teammates because he can't do too much, but then he also realizes, well, damn, my teammates are young. I don't want this moment to be too big for them, and we miss out on a potential championship. But I don't want to say he's wearing down, but but it's like I know somebody made the argument that he should be on the bench and the other dude, Cameron Payne, should start because Cameron Payne pushes the tempo, but I get it from a minute standpoint, but Chris just looks, he doesn't look that spry. We'll see how he looks in game 6. I'm not even sure. I guess his numbers in game 5 weren't bad. I feel like he had 21 points, but he's made some costly mistakes late. And I think that always comes down to fatigue, like the foul on Giannis, which I said, man, that's kind of dangerous. Why would you at that point just let him dunk it? Why would you even extend out? Yeah, you pulled your arms back, but that's really dangerous. Your momentum as a dunker. If you stop it like that, he could have really hurt himself. But yeah, the turnover late. I wonder if that's fatigue. But I wonder Jrue Holiday too, the pressure he's putting on Chris Paul, if that's kind of getting them when he's pressing. So there's a lot of factors to consider, especially when it comes to Chris and he's older player too.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that is during the broadcast, both Van Gundy and Mark Jackson were both going, that turnover there isn't going to be credited in the stat sheet to Chris Paul, but that's a Chris Paul turnover. And they had, I would say, 3, 4, 5 of those throughout the broadcast where they both kind of pointed out things where maybe the ball didn't go off of his hands, but it was his fault for the turnover there. To couple that with, just kind of the play of he just hasn't looked quite right. I think you're right. I think now this many games under his belt with this, that much mileage on his legs, I think he's starting to run out of gas a little bit here and maybe not making those superstar wow plays that we're used to seeing him make. They're just off by just that heartbeat, just that half a heartbeat that he can't quite do it. And I think he's trying. I don't want to say he's trying too hard, but the magic isn't quite happening like he's used to. And so that's, I think, has been a lot of it from the Phoenix side of they're used to him being that catalyst and that we need that one play, and he hasn't been providing that in the critical moment. And I think that's where, for Phoenix, that the wheels have come off a little bit there.
It's tough. He's 36 now, and you think back to all those playoff series that he's played in, injuries, and, he's an old – he's like, Dwayne Wade at this point in his career. He came out when he was 20, so 15-plus years, and, not everybody's LeBron James. Maybe and he's slowed down. He's not the same. He's obviously lost a step and everything like that. And I did think he was maybe dribbling a bit too much on possessions, trying to create, because I know a reporter asked him about that too, if the ball movement could have been better. And I guess Phoenix could try to play more off the ball, but it's been like him and Devin Booker have been doing a lot of one-on-one and going ISO. Remember when Booker had that turnover, he was trying to go ISO. That's why they were even saying, well, we knew he was going to isolate and we were ready for that. So I mean, they can't, and they keep saying the Phoenix Suns basketball is moving the ball. So I would like to see more ball movement in this game. Maybe more setting more picks, stuff like that. Get some movement going. But Milwaukee's got such tremendous length, though, that Milwaukee can cover that ground and cover that space. And Giannis can switch out on anything. So I think Chris Paul might be a little scared. Maybe the balls are getting deflected when they're trying to move it. So they're like, all right, well, let's just keep the ball and then drive and stuff like that. But yeah, Phoenix is, I mean, it's tough. We'll see how they come out in this other game. But I think Milwaukee might have kind of had to figure out defensively, especially Chris Paul, because he's and two, if he's worn down or fatigued or anything like that, and his legs are under him, then yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if I don't see, I have a hard time not seeing Milwaukee taking one of the next two here to finish it off. I even if Phoenix manages to pull off tomorrow night, I don't see, maybe because the crowd in Arizona will carry them a little bit in Game 7, but I have a hard time seeing them finishing that game. I could see a scenario where it was like Game 5 where they came out with a big first quarter and Milwaukee has to bounce back, but I don't see them finishing them off. I just can't see it. I see Milwaukee taking this, which means, of course, Phoenix will.
I think you're kind of saying the same thing. Like, I just don't think Phoenix has enough. Mm-hmm. Especially they're only I mean, I look at their bench. It's Cam Johnson. Payne. They even lost Saric, which would have been a nice another wing play, but they just don't have enough. Like they ran with the small rotation for the most of the season. Like they don't even have a backup center or anything like that. Like, so obviously they're going to have some roster spots to fill. Devin Booker, he's nice young player, but you're going to be looking for a point guard. This offseason, a young point guard, what I'm saying, to pair with, whether Chris Paul stays or not. I think Chris Paul's contract is up after this season, I'm pretty sure. Maybe he's got one more year left. But you want to be looking for a nice young point guard to pair with Booker and Ayton. And then you bring back Crowder, Mikal Bridges, Saric, and all the other guys to fill the spots. And, depending on your draft picks and what you have and everything, and you can spend a free agency. Phoenix is a nice young team. I don't know if they'll make the finals next year, though, but it'll be interesting to see how they look moving forward.
Yeah.
I think it's up. I remember he signed that 4-year contract extension when he was with Houston, because remember it was like 4 years and 160 because it's like $40 million per year. And that was, but he played for Oklahoma City last year and been like, he played, I think this is the last, because I think they keep trying to say he's going to the Lakers. Like but the Lakers don't really need him. They're just linking him to LeBron James because they're friends. I think this is the last year of that contract.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him right now. Oh, contracts, yes. Dang, pop-ups keep popping up over the top, so I can't see.
Yeah. It's tough.
Chris Paul. Player option for 21-22. So,
okay. Yeah, for $40 million or something like that, 30-something.
44.
Yeah, 40. So he can. That's what they're saying. He can opt out, and he's 36, but he can't. I think because his age, he can only sign for a certain amount of years. I remember that. Yeah, he can't get. Yeah, so I don't know what he opt out, take another year or so. Even if he opts in, Phoenix can just trade him midpoint through the season if they're not where they want to be, or if they want to get assets, or depending on what. If he does that, but he's coming off the contract when he's 37, and maybe he'll just sign like a contender or something at that point if he still wants to play. But part of me thinks he kind of wants to win so he can retire, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought at the start of the series. I'm like, if he wins this, he's going to done
retire off the sunset. Yep.
Yeah, but now if it doesn't come out that way, maybe he finds his way to Brooklyn.
Oh God. Don't go to. I'd like to see him in New York. That'd be interesting. Towards the twilight of his career, playing the Big Apple. Maybe. Coming off the. If he came off the bench and was like a backup point guard, but that I think he'd only do something like that if the Knicks were actually going to go somewhere like they have finals contention. Otherwise, what's the point of doing that? And obviously Brooklyn's got a ball dominant guards. Oh no, he can't go to Brooklyn because him and James Harden were like clashing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just remember there. So like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
I was just thinking of a place that, full of superstars that he could just go and just, only contribute when he needed to, kind of place. I forgot about him and the Harden thing.
Harden thing, yeah.
Cool. All righty, sir. Anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No, I mean, I know we kind of touched on Zach LaVine being a health and safety protocols, and they're hoping that he can rejoin them later, not this week in Tokyo. So that's good because Zach's been actually playing really good Olympic ball, and I want to see him like finish it out with Team USA because I think it's going to help the Bulls and his leadership and him even more next year. But besides that, no, I'm hoping this, when the season gets done, or depending on when this finals run is over, obviously we'll recap this. But then I'm kind of excited, to kind of start looking forward towards the draft process and what's going on there and everything like that. I mean, I would love for us to maybe do a pre-draft show or something as it gets closer to that day, or draft recap. I'm sorry, and talk about how some of these teams did and how that impacts them moving forward, or maybe before free agency hits because. Yeah, we can
definitely come back and have a couple of wrap-up shows in there. So so maybe not quite as week to week as we've been here.
No, with the finals over.
But we can hit some stuff here during the off season. Yeah, not a problem at all.
We're going to Cancun as well. Cancun on 3, right, Doug?
All right. I was there the summer after I graduated high school. Again, a million years ago, but beautiful place.
You still remember the same hotel you stayed at when you were down there?
I could probably. Yeah.
I've never been there.
It was great.
I've never been there, but I did get my passport this fall during everything going on with COVID. So I definitely could travel more, and I definitely plan on it. Nice. I mean, I have to.
Nice. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would love to go back to some place like that.
Again. Who knows? I might even do a show from Cancun one day. I might just be down there. I'm gonna do the stream from Cancun and have the mahi or mai tai or.
Got a couple palm trees in the back.
Trees. Oh yeah, I'd kill for that.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, yes it would.
Cool. All righty then. Then that will wrap it up for now. We will see you after the finals wrap up, whenever that is, either tomorrow or Thursday. And then we'll be back after that to talk a little off-season news after that. So until then, he's Sam, I'm Doug, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Yep.